Hi, I'm Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for checking out my blog. Thank you for visiting me at jasonjcampbell.org. Today I plan on answering some questions and responding to some comments that I got in emails. I got tons of questions that I want to respond to. Some people I couldn't respond to. The emails didn't go through. Pam, for example. Pam, I couldn't get my email to go through, so I'm going to give you my response in this blog. So let's begin. Pam says, have you thought much about the psychological mechanisms of projection and its relation to enemy making in war? No anti-war movement can be successful without the individuals leading it and participating in it having integrated their own shadows. Let me explain first what Pam is referring to. There is a belief that in discussing political affairs or discussing what's known as otherness, that the way that we come to formalize this us versus them mentality is that there is an enemy and then there are colleagues or friends or patriots. The way that America, for example, defines itself as a nation is in opposition to an enemy. And what Pam is asking is, in this new series that I'm writing on globalizing Americana, in the emergence of a new peace movement, is the peace movement understood in opposition to some other movement? Is there an antithesis to the peace movement? The brief answer, Pam, is no, it's not. Actually, what you're referring to comes from this guy right here. His name's Carl Schmitt. So Carl Schmitt was a political theorist, political philosopher, and obviously I've prepared for this, so I've marked it in the book. I'm going to read, Pam, a little bit of Schmitt. Hopefully this will put your comments into context, because you're absolutely right, though I reject Schmitt's claim. Schmitt says on page 26, he says, the specific political distinction to which political actions and motives can be reduced is that between friend and enemy. So he's made the distinction between friend and enemy. He continues, the political enemy need not be morally evil or aesthetically ugly. Now, here's the interesting part. It is sufficient in his nature, in a special, intense way, existentially something different or alien, that he be something different or alien, so that in the extreme case, conflicts with him are possible. So that in the extreme case, conflicts with this other person is possible. So it's not important that he be morally, what did he say? Morally evil or aesthetically ugly. That's not important. It's just that he be different, right? It's just that this enemy be something that I'm not. So that in making the distinction between us versus them, it is justifiable that he just be some other person. That's enough in order for me to formalize this otherness, this me versus you, this us versus them mentality, and then I can define who it is I am and the beliefs that I have in opposition to some other person or some other entity or some other government. I reject this. I don't at all ascribe to Schmitt's point of view. I know a lot of philosophers, a lot of political theorists do ascribe to Carl Schmitt's stance. I don't. In his book, and the title of this is The Concept of the Political. In the concept of the political, I think Schmitt is wrong, right? I don't believe that in order for us to have an awareness of national sensibility, an awareness of self, an awareness of the individual, that awareness needs to manifest in opposition to some other stance, right? I don't think that that's true. You guys will have to wait to see how I formalize, and I've had a lot of questions on, Jason, you know, how are you going to triangulate the 3 Ps? And the 3 Ps being bureaucratics, politicians want power, business people want profit, and we the people want peace. So if we're going to talk about peace for the 21st century, for a new movement in peace studies, for a new movement in unifying nations, in some sense I believe you're wasting your time unless you're able to speak the language of economics, right? You're not really going to do a service. You're not going to have the impact that you need to have, that you want to have, if you don't understand that, you know, politicians want power, the people want peace, and business persons, they want profit. So let's make everybody happy, right? So that's my intent in this. So Pam, I appreciate the answer, or the question rather. My answer to your question is no, I don't at all believe that in order to have a sense of awareness of self or awareness of nation, that it needs to be juxtaposed in opposition to some other enemy, right? I don't believe that at all. I think that is antithetical to peace, and I think that it's this belief this presupposition why we can't move towards possibly conceptualizing global peace, which is exactly what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. So, thank you very much, Pam. Next, off to Conspiracy Cat, and that's cat with a K, K-A-T. Conspiracy Cat, in response to, I can't remember the name of the blog post that I put, but it had to do with fame, on the emptiness of fame, I think it was. Conspiracy Cat says, fame as an end is empty. And I agree with that. The intent is fueling this, fame as an end is empty. The internet is fueling this unhealthy trend. If you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the child responds, I want to be famous. This is very bad, and the child needs better direction from responsible adults. Conspiracy Cat, I couldn't agree with you more, right? I don't necessarily think, a lot of people have the belief that, you know, I'm anti-fame, I'm anti-wealth. I'm not necessarily, well, I mean, I might be anti-fame and anti-wealth. Okay, so maybe I am. I think I agree totally with Conspiracy Cat. If the sole end of your purpose in this world is to be famous, then there's nothing, to me, not knocking anyone in particular, but there's nothing more vapid, right? There's nothing more vapid than just wanting to be famous for the sake of being famous, right? So the fact that people know that my name is Jason, the fact that people know what I do, doesn't amount to crap. It doesn't amount to anything. There's no use out of that. If, however, I take a sense of notoriety or a sense of credibility or even a sense of fame and I put it to use, right? So I discover some great cure or I formalize a great theory and that cure or theory is able to be implemented and applied to the world to help people, then that I agree with, right? I think that fame in that regard is something that can be healthy. Right? There's a certain sense of notoriety involved, right? Barack Obama wouldn't be who he is were he not to be famous. But I was watching something on 60 Minutes and he was like, you know, I wish I could just go for a stroll with my kids and my wife in the park. That's the price you got to pay, right? So if you really do want to be famous, there's a price, right? You have to be sort of relegated to seclusion. That's personally something that I don't want. I like the small things. I like not knowing that, you know, people are approaching me, asking me for this or that. I don't want to be famous, right? And I think, unfortunately, a lot of our youth have come to idealize fame, and they want fame more than anything else. They want fame more than wealth. They want fame more than family. They want fame more than a sense of community or an obligation to a community. I think that's problematic because then you have these little automatons running around only thinking about me, 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 me. I want everybody to look at me, look at me, look at me. And that's problematic. If you're drawing attention to yourself in order to make the world a better place, then more power to you. If you're drawing attention to yourself to draw attention to yourself, the repercussions can be pretty bad. So to all the little kids, hopefully there's young people watching my, I have a feeling that young folks aren't looking at my vlog and reading my blogs, but I hope to be able to extend this to young folks. I know it can be a little heady at times, but you know, it's all about making the information accessible. So Conspiracy Cat, couldn't agree with you more. Appreciate the comment. Yeah, and I hope fame is never used as an end in itself, because guaranteed that's going to be problematic.